Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the Docker volume in the real world application where the applications are deployed in the Azure web app. So we're gonna use a simple demo. We'll be using the upload concept of an image, as well as we will be storing the Serilog log information to the file sharing under the Azure storage container. Alright. Come, let's get started. So in this demo, I'll be using the same Cosmos DB web API application. And if you have watched my previous video, we did a Docker volume demo on local, how to store the information outside the container in the local system, right? So here you go. We go to this Docker file and we comment what we did last video. So the run command of the app/upload, we're going to comment it out. Alright, we're going to install a package called Serilog sync.azure blob storage. We're going to put all the logs into a file under the container, the storage container. That's why that package was important here. Under the program, this is something called a write to Azure blob storage. Okay, so we're going to change a piece of information here. I just did it. And here you need to pass a bunch of parameters. Basically, we are going to pass a blob service client, which will eventually require a connection string and a password. So we are going to use the connection string and the container configuration to tell the Serilog that, hey, this is the connection string of the Azure storage and container name is this is the one. So we will configure the Serilog and pass the information that this is the connection string, this is the container, this is the log level, and this is the file that you need to create under this container. Okay, so every time you go to the container, you'll be able to get this log. So we don't have a container yet. So we go to portal, we create an Azure storage account. The first thing is Azure storage account. You click on the storage account and do a create. So once you create a storage account, I will show you how to do it. But in order to first create an account, you fill up the subscription, resource group, give a meaningful, name of the storage container. So Azure storage account name. So here the account name I'm going to use as let's take something which is not used by anyone. So LSE dash application is also used. Let me see what I can use it. Alright, I'm going to use this as LSE application, and the region and the performance is standard. I'm going to leave everything else as default because all this demo is all about how we can write the log information to the Azure storage container using the Docker volume. That's the whole idea. We're not bothered of how the storage containers are really created, well advanced. Alright, so I'm going to leave everything as default and going to click on create. The validation has already been passed. So after a few seconds or a moment, it will be created. I will go to this resource, and under the overview plate, you will see this information, and under the container, right now there is no container. So let's create a container called app-logs. Okay, and this is a blob anonymous read for, or I would say this is a container. So this container is a private container because no one else from outside should be able to access it, and only the application should be able to access it using the credential. So I have a container created and I don't have any files that is written inside the container, which our Serilog application will do. Alright, so next is under the keys, you have something called the connection string and the container name. So container name, we know there are two connection string, primary and secondary. Pick up any one of those. I would preferably pick up the primary connection string. Go to this app settings, and under the connection string of the Azure blob storage, I'm going to paste the connection string that I copied from the Azure portal, which is this is the one, and the container name is app-logs that we just created, right? So this is the configuration that we are feeding to the Serilog in the program.cs, and it knows how to connect and write the file. Alright, so we know how to do it. Like, let's go to file share and create a file share. So here I'm going to name the file share as uploads, and then I'm going to put it into the hot tire because that's the one that's easily accessible. So you have seen my videos how these different tires works. I'll leave it as hot tire, and right now under the storage account there's a file share that we created, and the name of the file share is uploads, and this is the URL. You see this URL? This is the URL where our files will be shared. Okay, so now both are in Azure, okay, under the storage account. Now go to the configuration of the web API and click on add new application setting. There is a new settings that you need to add, that is called websites underscore enable underscore app underscore service underscore storage. Looks like it is already there. Let's go and see what's the value of it. So it's a false. This settings will come only for the container based application. Remember it, you may not see this in all the regular application. Our service is container based app, that's why this is coming. You set this as true, okay, because that's when this web app will be able to access the file sharing mechanism. Now coming back to this Docker, important thing that you need to add is under the Docker file, you need to have something called volume and then specify slash app slash uploads. Okay, slash app slash uploads is the virtual path which the volume is mapped for this application. So this application knows only that it needs to upload to slash app slash uploads. Where is this slash app slash upload is present? We have no idea, right? So for our application to know where it has to write, we have one more configuration that is not done, which I'll show you shortly. But remember, this is just a virtual map that will be mapped to the Azure file sharing. Okay, now once we have this the top one commented and then the bottom one is, we just put a volume and then do a mapping here. Okay, only one here, that's it. Now let's save this information. So now this information is saved, and under the configuration there is something called path mapping. So there's three things, right? Application setting, general settings, path mapping. The first one that we did was the application setting. Now go to path mapping, click on add Azure storage mount. You need to mount a place. So the configuration option is basic. Here the name, you can name whatever you want. Storage account is our account that we just created, and here you choose Azure files, and then automatically the uploads that was in the Azure files will come up here. Here this is important, mount path should match with what you have it in your application under the volume configuration. So under volume, under the Docker file, we configured slash app slash uploads. That's the exact mount path that you need to put it here. Any change will not get synced and it won't work. Okay, this is super important. This volume map should match. Once you have these two configuration ready, let's go to this application and run and see. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to check in this code, and once the check-in happens, this will be deployed to the container registry, and then the application will be running the latest container. If you watched my previous video, there was a CI/CD pipeline demo that I did. This is what you're seeing now, and the changes that I did, and I checked in the code, the image was built, it was pushed to the Azure container registry, and then CI release pipeline was kicked in, and in the logs team I can see the latest container was deployed and running. And this is what I saw, right? So these two endpoints now started coming up. Now this is very first time fresh we are going to do, so which means there is no images uploaded yet. So here I'm going to see some username and see whether we are able to get some information. See, there was no exception thrown, all the mount path was working properly, there is no image for Karthik, for the username Karthik. And then I'm going to use my name, and I'm going to choose some image, maybe the profile image, and then execute it. Now because the configuration was done perfectly, there was no error, and then the image was uploaded into the file share, which I'll show you shortly, right? If I go to the get endpoint and try to retrieve it, it should give us the information that was stored. Now see, it just knows it's under the app slash upload, but we know the mount was done through the path mapping, and under the containers you can see the application started running, and under the app logs you should see a log file created using the Serilog. Serilog has done its work, application log file has come, and because of this volume mount that we did, right, and then this is the piece of code that was responsible for writing the log file to the container under the app log, right? So this is the application.log file. this is the connection string, this is the container name. So using all these settings, it was able to create this file, right? You can actually download this file and you can open up this file. As long as the logs were written, see, application started. Twice it was written, maybe twice we restarted the application. That's why it is. Now let's go back and see the interesting thing. Under the storage account, under the file shares, under the uploads. Whatever we uploaded should come here. In order to access that, click on browse and see two images was uploaded for two different users. Now the container was running, and then all the images or anything that was uploaded is all stored here. There is nothing lost. The container stops, runs, doesn't matter. The information is preserved in a place properly, securely. And that's what all this demo is all about. Docker image, you should know how to do the mapping, volume mounting in your local, as well as if you're moving some stuff to the cloud, which is Azure cloud. We were able to achieve this in the Azure file share also. We know how to mount it for a web application. Alright, I hope you enjoy this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more tech tutorials. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notified when we post new videos. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Happy coding!